Hello, mysterious person behind the screen, and welcome to our ongoing series of Nolan Batman trilogy commentaries. I'm once again joined by Isaac,
Hello.
and this time we are doing, probably the most iconic of them all, The Dark Knight. So,
hmm
I guess without further ado,
If you'd like to sync this up with your own copy of The Dark Knight or watching the Blu-ray version, put the film to the start and press play in three, two, one, go. So I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but this is my favourite movie ever.
oh, awesome! No, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a cracker. This
it,
this is one I can watch pretty much any day of the week. Really, it's just so
yeah.
good.
I mean, I'm gonna take a guess. Is yours Spider-Man 2?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so we we both have superhero sequels as our favorite films, which is cool. Um,
hmm
but yeah, no, this is just it's a masterpiece, really. That's all we can really say. It's just an absolute masterpiece.
It is, yeah. I can remember back in 2016 when that whole craze started of people saying, "Oh, critics don't like DC," and it's that
Mm.
SpongeBob meme where he rips off the wall, shows I don't know a poster of Superman the movie. Oh, that's not so much. Batman Returns. Oh, that doesn't count. The Dark Knight trilogy. Then it's him showing, I think, The Dark Knight winning two Oscars.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, no, that was the whole thing, wasn't it? It's like after Batman v Superman, there was this whole conspiracy that Disney were paying off
yeah.
critics to give DC bad reviews, and it's like, well,
I mean, to be fair, you still get it now because so
yeah,
many people think, oh, the BBC paid people to like the latest season of
oh
Doctor
yeah,
Who. I can't comprehend that people might think differently to me.
exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Now remember, this opening sequence was this was included on I think it was the Blu-ray of Batman Begins, as a
Yeah, it
special
was.
feature to kind of hype up this film, and I believe this was shown in cinemas as well, like just the opening sequence on its own. I
hmm
think in IMAX cinemas to hype it up and everything, and yeah,
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, I didn't see this in cinemas and I had no idea about the hype, but
mm,
just having researched into it, the hype for this seemed off the charts.
mm,
Like, it had its own website and everything. There were
yeah.
stills, merchandise, and also there were those Gotham Tonight episodes, which I don't know if they came before the film or if they were just bonus features on the DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think they were bonus features, but they might have been on the website as well. But they were really, really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they came out before the film because it takes place in between Batman Begins and this one and doesn't really
Mm.
give anything away.
Yeah,
Other
for
than the
sure.
bank robbery, which people probably already knew if they saw uh, the IMAX stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the website you actually researched into it that they had this really cool thing. You had to go on like a scavenger hunt to find clues. Am I right in saying that? Um,
I think so,
yeah, and
yeah.
you kind of piece together the Joker's message. And I think if you did all the clues right, you'd get access to like a special secret web page with like a trailer on it. I think.
hmm
So it's a whole
Ah,
big thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
this opening is so perfect because,
mm,
yeah, introduces us to the film perfectly.
yeah, exactly. It's just it's a wonderful sequence. Like just the way it's directed and everything. It's just such a statement. It's just such a bold statement about what the film's going to do. And
hmm
what an introduction to the villain. You know, it's yeah, it's so good. And this actually, I remember, like I spoke about it last time that I had nightmares about the Joker as a kid, and all I remember
Yeah, it wouldn't
seeing,
surprise me.
yeah, all I remember seeing of the film because I wouldn't watch it for so long just because the image of the Joker from this one just freaked me out. All I remember seeing
hmm
from this one was pictures of him in I don't know if you remember a magazine called Toxic. Like a
I think I've heard of it.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was like a kids magazine when I was younger, and they had a big feature on this one day, and it's In 2008, it was a big deal. It was a really big deal.
Hmm.
Even though I didn't see it until much later, it was. I just remember the hype and everything.
Even though it's my favourite film, I can nitpick it because, for
Mm.
example, this bus that's about to come in, when you look at the road, you realise he had no momentum to crash it through the door.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? You can. There's a lot of things in this film. I think you can nitpick and you can kind of go, well, how does this line up with that one and all that. But it doesn't really matter. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's just all
Yeah,
it's.
doesn't really ruin the film for me, to be honest.
No, exactly.
Yeah, if he just kept quiet, he would have walked away then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And there was so much negativity surrounding Heath Ledger's casting, wasn't there? People were
Yeah.
thinking they're insane, thinking he can compete with Jack Nicholson, but
Mm.
how wrong they were.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think a lot of it was the publicity shots they released. But to be fair, I don't think you can actually do a convincing publicity shot of the Joker and make it look threatening. Because
Yeah,
if you look at Jack Nicholson's publicity shots, there's one with him and Michael Keaton where like Batman's got his hand on his shoulder and he's just sort of like scowling at him, and it just looks like
yeah,
a rom com about two gay old a gay old couple. That's you can't make the Joker look threatening. I think in publicity shots, and these ones were like him smiling and like kind of swishing his coat around and stuff, and it didn't help. But when everyone saw the film, they were immediately proved wrong.
yeah. I think the trailers may have started to win people over because the laugh and what he was saying and his
Mm,
look. I
yeah,
think people were starting to be won over by him.
yeah, exactly. It's such an incredible performance, and it's become iconic now, and still to this day, like 13 years later, every Halloween,
Oh yeah,
one of the most popular costumes. I've even done it. Is the Heath Ledger
oh yeah,
Joker?
me too.
Is the Heath Ledger version of
Yeah,
the
and
Joker? Yeah.
definitely at conventions as well.
Oh
Always
yeah.
see that
Yeah.
version of the Joker there.
Yeah.
I've
Exactly.
seen a few. I've seen a few Jared Leto's.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the Joker is an easy choice for a costume, right? Because all you've got to do, I guess, is
Yeah,
dye your hair green and get a purple suit, right?
more or less. Yeah, and the makeup's very simple. It's white, black, and red. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I do like this. How Scarecrow's just become a drug dealer.
Yeah, I like it as well. It fits. It's a logical sort of progression, I think, of what he was doing in the first film,
Hmm.
and it makes a lot of sense, I think. And I like that this film takes the stance of like, well, yeah, there would be copycat Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's something we've not really seen in any superhero film. I think there's no
Mm.
one putting on their own suit and trying to pretend to be another superhero.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's a cool little and it's not a plot point either. It's not dwelled upon. It just is a nice little beat to show Batman's influence, I
what
guess.
Batman is? Yeah,
Yeah,
Batman's influence.
yeah. Actually, it reminds me of there's a side mission in the Spider-Man PS4 game where you meet someone who's like a black belt in karate, and he's running around in a Spider-Man costume beating up thugs, and
Ah, okay.
it reminds me of that a bit.
Hmm.
So I like that they keep the suit from the first film for the first 20 minutes of the film as well.
Yeah.
I like that they don't just start him off with a brand new suit, because that's a nitpick I have with a lot of like superhero films nowadays, especially. They'll get a new suit every film, and they'll never provide an explanation as to why the suit's changed and stuff. And it's not like I think we need it. It's just it would be nice to have some
Yeah.
continuity.
I mean, to be honest, even as a kid with the first Spider-Man film, I even did question, well, if that suit gets destroyed at the end of the first one, how does he get
Yeah.
another one for the second one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And of course, he changes his suit because of a dog.
Yeah.
It was a big dog.
It was a big dog.
Yeah, Scarecrow looks so high there. He's like, yeah, Batman.
Yeah.
I know Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, they're asked to do this dialogue all the time, I think.
Oh yeah, they are.
I know Kevin Conroy has said, I'm not wearing hockey pads
Yeah.
in his own Batman voice.
Well,
Mark Hamill's done Why So Serious as well.
Yeah. Well, I know before the Killing Joke film came out, that was the dialogue they were always asked to do, wasn't it? It was always, "Can you do this bit from the Killing Joke?" And it was like this. It was like the Dark Knight and the Killing Joke were the two things that they were asked to do the most.
Yeah.
And the voice is still okay here, I think. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not reached the point yet of ludicrous. Like, I think it gets to that point maybe later on in the film.
Yeah, that, where is he? Someone knows where he
Someone
is.
knows where he is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets...
Yeah. Here, I think it's okay, but...
Yeah. Plus also, for the first act, you wouldn't think it's a Batman versus Joker film. It's pretty much Batman versus the mob, because no one takes the Joker seriously. They just think he's some nut job in a clown outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Batman said, one man of the entire mob, he can wait.
Yeah, exactly.
But the ironic thing is, ignoring him is what leads to more problems.
Yeah. And I think... I love... That's what I love about this one. I love the escalation of everything. Because it starts off and everything's kind of alright, and alright, yeah, we got the mob and everything, but Batman's on top of it, and he's working with the police, and we got the new DA there and everything, and then slowly the whole thing just spirals into chaos over 2.5 hours. It just... The escalation's incredible.
Yeah, and like I said last time, this film is the inverse to Batman Begins, where Batman Begins, in their desperation, the good guys turn to someone dressed up as a bat, and in this film, the mob, in their desperation, turn to some guy dressed up in a clown suit.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, it's I mean, is it the end of Batman Begins where Gordon's like, well, we buy semi-automatics, they buy automatics, we buy body armor, they buy armor-piercing rounds, and it's like there's a counter to everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Nope.
Maggie Gyllenhaal in this looks a lot like Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. Just saying.
No, she actually does. Yeah, I've never thought of that before, but that is very
they
true.
do look a bit similar.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And of course, we've got Eric Roberts in this film.
Yes, the master himself.
Aaron Eckhart's really underrated, I think.
Yeah, because I do think he gets overshadowed by the Joker, but yeah, a lot of people don't bring up his performance because it's terrific.
It is, yeah, and he never really... He didn't do much else like big stuff, did he? He's in a lot of things, but it never... This is hands down the biggest thing he's ever done.
That's true, yeah. And I like how, if you're familiar with the comics, this is how he becomes Two-Face. He gets scarred in a courtroom, but
Yes,
they
it
pretty
is.
much subvert that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. One thing though, how did that guy just have a gun in his lap while the judge was right next to him?
Yeah.
Again, it's minor nitpicks. And she is a better Rachel, I think. I mean, there's not... I don't...
Yeah, I'd say that, because I'll say this about Katie Holmes in the first film. She looked about 15.
Yeah, she did look really young, yeah.
In places.
She did,
yeah.
yeah.
Maggie Gyllenhaal does look more woman-like rather than a young girl.
Yeah. And, yeah, I don't know that... The thing about this trilogy, Rachel has a massive presence in the first one. She's not in the third one, so you can only kind of judge each actress on one performance. So it's not like Gyllenhaal has the edge in that respect, because they both were only in one film, obviously. So
yeah, and also I think when they were making this one, plans for the third film would have been about the Joker's trial. And Two-Face apparently trying to take over the city, which could have been cool, but obviously it was not to be.
I mean, I did read somewhere actually that they were considering just having this be the end of it. I seem to remember like Nolan was considering this, stepping away from it after this film, but I guess he changed his mind.
Yeah, I think maybe they just said make one more film and then you're free to go.
Free, yeah, exactly. I do think it works though, as if this was the end of everything. Obviously, it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, but I do think it could have. It does work.
Yeah, it amazes me that there was a 4-year gap. Just
wow, yeah.
I can't imagine that happening today.
No.
I mean, closest we've got is what, For the Dark World and For Ragnarok? But even then, Thor appears in Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, you can't really imagine having that gap, yeah. Like, I love all this, like, so much of this first half of the film is in the daytime. And then
it is, yeah.
In fact, a lot of the film is in the daytime actually, and I think people, because this is the thing, people often this trilogy is often considered dark and gritty and like the most realistic thing ever. But there's a lot of scenes that are brightly lit and in the day, and I think it's important to remember that.
Now you've got Coleman Reese there, who seems to be. He's called Mr. Reese, which means mystery, so people have theorised that he's the Riddler. And also he figured out Batman's identity.
Yeah.
And his hair colour's quite similar to Edward Nygma's hair in the animated series, so...
Yeah, true.
And they were both Wayne Enterprise employees, so who knows, eh?
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder, because he does kind of look a bit like a Edward Nygma. It's interesting.
Yeah, this is the first Batman film where the actor inside can turn his head.
Turn his head, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to fight crime, probably turning your head's a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, Harvey Dent's line here has become used everywhere, hasn't it? You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the
Yeah,
villain.
yeah, yeah. It's been again this film. I think I would say that there's a few superhero films that are like really iconic in pop culture, and this is for sure one of
Hmm.
them. This just this outline is just referenced so many times now.
Well, 2008, the year this came out, it was pretty much a game changer, I think, for superhero films
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
it pretty much made an impact and said superhero films are here to stay and they're going to be the mainstream for years to come because the MCU started in
yeah, yeah.
2008. You had this, and you also had was it Hellboy 2?
I think Hellboy 2 was that 2007. I think it might have been 2008. Yeah, one of them. I don't know.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I saw a tweet recently where someone said, "Oh, I'm sick of superhero movies." Listen, in 1950, there was about 158 westerns
Yeah.
released in one year.
God, yeah, probably
That's
more.
13 a month. So don't complain that cinema is oversaturated with them.
Mm. Right. Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know if you've seen it. It used to be a video on YouTube. I don't know if it's still up. It might have been taken down for copyright, but you know those previously segments from the Batman '60s series. Um,
Oh yeah.
Somebody
Hmm.
did like a recap of the Dark Knight, in the style of that, and it was like when the bank guard with the tear gas grenade at the start. It's like, "Good night, sweet guard." um, yeah, it's a
I
really good
mean,
video.
I'd have loved to have seen, you know how Spider-Man 2 and 3 recap the previous films in
Mm.
illustrations and clips. I'd have loved to have seen, in the opening titles, I'd have loved to have seen every superhero film try that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Imagine Avengers Endgame doing that with recapping Infinity War.
I miss title sequences because obviously so many films have them at the end now, but those
Yeah.
films like the Raimi films just they feel like events and they feel like, okay, here's what happened in the last one. Here you go. Here's the next chapter. Really, Right, it would be nice to. And obviously, Superman 2 has that. The theatrical cut of Superman 2 has that as well. And
It does, yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, what I love about the Joker is that he has nothing to fear.
yeah, yeah. No, it's this scene's brilliant. This is just. I'm willing to bet anyone who was still on the fence about Heath Ledger, this was the scene that probably
I
just.
think the magic trick is what got them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So did he just put that pencil in his eye then?
Yes, I guess. Yeah. So
Okay. I'm surprised this is a 12.
I'm surprised. Yeah, in fact, I was talking to the Geeks Handbag a few years ago, and he thought it should be a 15, because it's
Yeah,
so.
true, because um, both the Burton films are 15, aren't they?
Uh, they are. Yeah, are they still 15? They definitely were for
I
a long
think
time.
so,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Batman Forever is also a 12. Like,
Mm,
what?
yeah.
That's too high.
Well, the DVD I had as a kid of Batman Forever was a PG because it was censored. Um,
Ah, okay.
so so I guess little bits of punches and headbutts pushed it up to a 12. I guess.
Hmm. Now, the main theme throughout this film is chaos, and because, and it's completely exemplified in the Joker, because, like, literally every, 20 minutes his plan changes. Here it's simple, we kill the Batman, and
Yeah.
then after that it's Batman must turn himself in, or somebody dies every day. And then it's, I don't want to kill Batman, you're too fun.
Yeah.
Let's do this forever.
That bit's really important as well. It's like, you're crazy. It's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because that's the one time in this scene where he's kind of not playing with them. You know, throughout the entirety of this scene, he's just got this. He's got this group in the palm of his hand, and he's playing with them. He's taunting them. That is the one bit where he's so, like, dead serious.
It always makes me laugh when he just goes, yeah.
Yeah.
You think you can steal from us and just walk away? Yeah. And again, as I said earlier, no one takes him seriously, so he says, oh, okay, I'll just wait, and I'll go do some things, and then you can call me when we start taking things seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's been a theory that this Joker is an ex-soldier, because he mentions that to Two-Face later. A truckload of soldiers will be blowing up, nobody panics. Honestly, I think that's a pretty credible theory, because obviously he's really good with weaponry and seems to be pretty flawless using it.
Yeah. It's I think that's kind of pretty much the canon explanation now. Because I do have a book called, I think it's called The Dark Knight Manual or something, and it's like an in-universe book, and it's one of those things you turn the pages, and every so often there'll be like a compartment with a deck of Joker cards and like documents, like documents from the GCPD and stuff, like physical props in the book, and it's really cool. And you do have like a document from the military. That sort of vaguely links to the profile of the Joker in this, and it's like even in the book it's never explicitly said that it's the same guy, but it's strongly implied. And and you've got
I think the scariest thing about this Joker is that we don't know anything about him. That's what makes him more scary.
Exactly, because
it's a complete opposite to Burton's Batman, because we knew everything about the Joker. We knew his name, what his life was before he became the Joker, how he became the Joker, and Batman's a complete mystery.
Yeah, exactly. And as much as I like the theory of the ex-military stuff, I like that it's never said either way, and you just never know. I don't know. Have you ever seen the Joker blogs?
No, I don't think I have.
They are a YouTube fan series, done 2009, I think they were done, and they are tapes from. I think some of it is after The Dark Knight, some of it is before, and they are tapes from from the Joker's interviews at Arkham. And the guy they've got playing the Joker is really, really good, because it sort of, you start series 1 and he's kind of doing this half decent Heath Ledger impression, and then as it goes along he gets the mannerisms so down, and it's that show's well worth a watch if you kind of want more from this universe, because it's really well done.
Feel sorry for those people who bought tickets to go see that.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Thanks, Bruce Wayne. A plane landing on water? Michael Caine's done that before.
Oh, yes.
Damn passengers, you're all the same. Oh, shit. Just look, that is the most half-assed performance I've ever seen from him. Seeing a shark and just going, oh, shit. It's almost like that. Oh shit! It sounds like, oh shit! I missed the bus. Now, coming up here, it's literally a blink and you'll miss it moment, but he has, the Joker has two knives in his hands, and doesn't he just stab the henchman right here and then?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, here it is, hold on. There it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, you'd have to go like frame by frame, right, to fully get the...
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure one of these actors here is from EastEnders or something. He's a...
Yeah, it's the guy who plays Gamble, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
Could be wrong, but I think he was in Wrong Turn 3 as well.
Oh, God.
The weird thing about those films is that, yes, I have watched some of them. Quite a lot of them are British actors, but they're putting on American accents. I'm just like, why don't you just get American actors?
Yeah, yeah.
What? Or why not just make them British?
Exactly. I think I've seen bits.
Because their
of,
accents are terrible.
I've seen bits and pieces of like the 5th and 6th ones or something. Like some.
The sixth one is just a porn film.
Yeah.
There's not much sex in it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like those films are the kind of things you find like at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning when you're scrolling through TV channels, and it's just utter shit that's on.
Yeah, those films are pretty crap. And another interesting thing about the Joker is that often when he kills his victims, he doesn't look at them.
Yes, yeah. Which is almost contradictory to what he says later on.
Mm-hmm.
When he says,
when you look someone, yeah.
God, the IMAX shots look gorgeous. They do,
yeah.
It's always a shame when the film goes back to 35mm because it still looks good, but the quality just leaps up when you go to the IMAX footage. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point, wasn't there only like 4 or 5 IMAX cameras in existence, and Nolan broke one of them, didn't he?
Possibly, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure I've read that.
I'm just trying to think of other films that have been released in IMAX that weren't directed by Christopher Nolan.
Infinity War and Endgame were entirely shot in IMAX, but the Blu-rays, unfortunately...
Oh, right.
Yeah, the Blu-rays, unfortunately, don't have the IMAX versions included. Really frustratingly, because...
Oh, that's a shame.
It's such a shame, because the Blu-rays are essentially cropped then.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have been so easy to include the IMAX version on there. Just open up the top and bottom, especially for films as big as those.
Yeah, I did see Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies in IMAX 3D, and
oh god, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it was worth it for a fantasy film like that, because you just feel like you've stepped into it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the high frame rate version of that, or?
I don't think I did. No.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, here's an interesting story. I saw Aquaman in what's it called? Box Cinema.
Oh,
where it's all around you.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
Just really weird, but yeah, it wasn't too distracting. It was just a bit. Okay, the film's on 3 different screens. What's the point?
Oh yeah, no, that's it's. Yeah, I always wanted to go to a 4DX thing where they have the water and stuff, but it's like when they have like the fans blowing wind in your face and the chairs moving and stuff. But I think for me it would feel too much like a theme park ride.
Yeah, I've been to Universal Studios and I have seen that Shrek 4D ride.
Yeah,
and yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it lasted like half an hour, and for a half an hour thing, it was pretty alright because it was basically the ghost of Lord Farquaad trying to get Fiona.
That was
something like that.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, and in Disney World they have a Bugs Life one, I think, as well. When it's like a stage show, but they have like they have pistons in the back of the seat, so that at one point they're like, "Oh, there's hornets coming," and you get jabbed in the back with a piston, and it's supposed to be like you're being stung by a hornet, and it's like, oh, cool, I get the effect, but it really hurt because it's just this giant thing. Like, oh, I'm surprised that that's still going because it must have been quite. It's just really painful.
This film's very much tinted blue, isn't it? It's quite different to Batman Begins, which was very grey and brown, wasn't it?
Yeah, like brownish, yeah. And then the third one, I think, is kind of black and white, I guess.
Yeah. And I do like these Hong Kong scenes because it shows that Batman has no limits, he has no jurisdiction, so even if you go to another country, you can't escape him.
Yeah, and we've never really seen that before in a Batman film, have we? Like him going outside of Gotham.
No, not in a Batman film, no. The closest I've seen is in the animated series where is it The Demon's Quest? Something like that?
Yeah.
Where he meets Ra's al Ghul and they go to the Lazarus Pit.
I think the closest we've seen in live action is probably in Justice League. He goes to Russia, but that's not really. It's a Justice League film, so I guess does that count? It's up to you, I guess. But
Goes to China, and then 8 years later, the city is put in quarantine.
Well, and he is a
bat.
bat.
You know who's to blame.
And he is a bat
yes,
as well.
he's a bat.
So clearly, somebody somewhere fucked up here.
And someone has to wear a mask.
I just think I watched the South Park Pandemic special recently, and that is just fucking messed up. I'm just trying to... They have it like one of the characters brings coronavirus to America by going to China and like shagging a bat or something. like him and like Mickey Mouse go on a drunken escapade, like having sex with random animals, and that's apparently what brought coronavirus to to America.
I love how he's put that note there, like, please deliver to Lieutenant Gordon. It's like in Spider-Man Homecoming. If this is your bag, please don't steal it.
Yeah.
This is quite different in tone to Batman Begins, because this is definitely a crime drama, whereas Batman Begins, as we said last time, it probably feels like the most comic book film out of these three.
Yeah, for sure. I think that this firmly plants itself in reality, way more so than Batman Begins, and I think more so than the third one as well, because the third one you get like logical leaps, like the nuke and how did he get to Gotham and all of that, which doesn't bother me too much. But it's just
Yeah.
it pushes the boundaries a little bit more than this. This is hands
Have
down
you
the
seen
most realistic of all of them, I think.
Yeah. Have you seen the YouTuber Legal Eagle?
I've heard, yeah, I'm sure I've seen some of
Yeah,
that content,
it's basically those real lawyer reacts to
yeah,
basically law scenes in film and TV, and usually he comes to a conclusion like of how accurate it was in terms of legal proceedings and what they would get done for. Apparently, Batman actually would get a longer sentence than the Joker because of
yeah.
that device he uses at the end to hack all the phone signals. Apparently, that's worse than what the Joker ever did.
yeah, I can well believe that.
The best one he's done is on B Movie.
Oh, of course.
Most of it is just him going, objection of relevance. What's the point of this? And he said, of course, being a dumb kids movie, B Movie gets an F. Yeah, this is why florists aren't allowed to be lawyers. You can't just practice law like that.
Oh, this dude looks like... I always thought it looks like he's got eyeliner on.
What, the mayor?
Yeah, the mayor.
Ah, right.
He just...
Maybe he does.
He's in the third one as well. Every time I look at him, I just think, is he wearing eyeliner? But I think it's just the actor's got really, like, defined eyelashes, I guess.
Mm-hmm. He's in the third film as well, isn't he? It's the same mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that gave me such a fright when I first watched it.
Same, yeah.
I mean, it's Hans Zimmer's that sting as well that really scares me. But again, the fake Batman comes back because the Joker uses him to send a message.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it would have been a great teaser trailer had they shown the clip of Bruce and Alfred watching the news footage. This would have been a cool teaser.
That would have been really cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really disturbing. Like, this is really that's why I'm surprised this is a 12 just from scenes like this. Because this is really disturbing.
Heath Ledger directed this himself, didn't he? He just grabbed a camera and did what he could, and I think Christopher Nolan liked it so much that he allowed him to do the one later where he kidnaps Mike Engel, the news guy.
Yes, yeah. And I think... because this really pushes the boundaries of the content, I think, because this is legitimately a genuine kidnapping video. And in media studies in college, I think it was media production actually, we had to there was a case study, it was an argument. It was like, oh, The Dark Knight is too graphic for a 12, and we had to kind of argue our points for and against. And I think we came to the decision in class, and the lecturer said, well, there's no blood, which is why it's a 12.
That's true, yeah.
Because they never show any actual... The violence is all... They never dwell on the injuries or anything, and that's why it's a 12.
Because Burton's Batman films, I can see why they would be a 15, because there is more blood in them. For example... First film, Jack Napier gets shot in the face. You see his scarred face, dropped into a vat of chemicals. Penguin bites a guy's nose off, and Catwoman does the whole scratches someone's face. You just see all the blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can definitely see why they're 15.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, when Jack Napier gets his face scarred, you can see like the chunks blowing off his face when the bullet ricochets back into his face. You can kind of see his face like breaking away.
Well, the funny thing is about the BBFC rating, the Desolation of Smaug and Battle of the Five Armies, I think the extended cuts are 15.
They are, yeah.
They're rated 15. That is so weird given the the book is basically a bedtime story for
Mm,
children.
yeah, it is. It
But
is odd.
yeah, seeing all the orc blood get splattered everywhere. I mean, in Desolation of Smaug, they cut an orc's head off, and you can still see the body on the ground
Yeah.
twitching. So I'm like, yeah, if that was a human, that would be immediate 18.
Mm. Yeah, because I've not seen the extended cuts of the Hobbit films, but I'm sure I don't know how much it kind of adds to determine the rating. But the Hobbit films, even in theatrical cuts, were always quite violent. Um,
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and also they're quite the BBFC are quite specific on how you use yep, the C word.
oh god, yeah,
Apparently, because it's on the World's End, Simon Pegg said, "How many times can we use it and maintain a 15 rating?" And they said, if you use it in a light-hearted way, like "Whoa, look at these cunts,"
yeah,
like that, it can be a 15. But if you use it that references sexual violence or violence towards men or women, it's an immediate 18.
18, yeah, which is always interesting. Yeah, because there's a lot of films. I think it's in Kingsman, isn't it? And Kingsman's still at 15, which is
Hmm.
quite yeah. It's weird. The BBFC, I do like looking into because some of their classifications are really fascinating, um, for the reasonings more
Yeah,
than anything else.
Frozen is a PG. Like,
Yeah,
what?
and we've spoken before that the original Star Wars trilogy is still to this day a U. Each film is a
Yep.
U, and it's like that. I don't think that should be the case. There's at least PG, especially Empire, but
Well, the first Spider-Man film was nearly a 15.
yeah, it was. Yeah, and I think
It
it's
was when
yeah.
it's when the Goblin punches Spider-Man. It's in slow-mo, and you see spit come out. But
Yeah,
originally, it was blood, and I think they had to digitally color it, otherwise it would have been a 15. Like, wow.
they did, yeah, and I think also when he's getting his revenge on the mugger, when he smashes his face into the glass,
Oh yeah, that
that's
is pretty
it
violent.
is pretty violent, yeah. Especially because there's no music or anything. You literally just hear him going. "Ah!"
Yeah.
It's just it is, and again that film had to be re-released under a 12A, didn't it? So
Hmm.
it's really bizarre. But now most blockbusters like the Marvel films, they probably half the time they probably don't even look at them. They're probably just like, yeah, 12.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
12.
the sort. Because that bit in Endgame where Hawkeye's getting his revenge on the Japanese thugs.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
watched Endgame the other day, and there's that really graphic bit where he cuts his throat, and you can see the blood coming down. It's like I'm shocked that got
Oh.
through at 12.
Hmm. Now, I know coming up here when uh, the Joker comes in. I think Michael Caine had lines when he answers the
Mm.
door, lift, something like that. But Heath Ledger scared him so much he forgot his lines. And if you've done that to someone who's been around like Michael Caine, you've definitely done your
You've
job right.
succeeded, yeah. And I think that when he grabs Rachel and she tries to look away. Apparently, that was actually Maggie Gyllenhaal genuinely looking away because she was getting really intimidated by the Joker getting in her face.
Ah. Mm. And he tells her another Scars story,
Mm.
which is great because because if you go into the comics, the Joker, like, there's like a million different origin stories for the Joker, and even Gotham touches on that
Yeah.
because you've got Jerome, he dies, then Jeremiah gets thrown into a vat of chemicals, and yeah, I think there's an episode where Jerome, yep, basically does a crime stint, and you see people all over the city laughing like him. Heck, there's even a cult that
Yeah.
worship him.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there's multiple Jokers out there.
Yeah. Because it's the famous line from The Killing Joke, isn't it? It's, if I have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
Yeah, that's true. Isn't that guy a senator? I could be wrong.
Oh, I think he is, right? Because there's some politician that was like a massive Batman fan, and for ages,
Hmm.
or actually, I think it was like he has a cameo in every Batman film or something. I've heard
Ah,
something
right.
like
So
that.
he's the Stan Lee of
He's the
Batman.
Stanley of Batman, yeah. But sometimes he's literally just an extra.
I do wonder how long was Batman waiting before he decided to come in. I need
Yeah.
to wait so I can say an awesome punchline.
Yeah, exactly. Ah, yeah. So I just looked at that senator Patrick Leahy.
That's
He's
it, yeah.
been in 5 Batman films. He's a self-confessed Batman fan,
Ah,
and he's
okay.
filmed 5 cameo appearances and voiced a territorial governor in Batman the Animated Series. So
Ah,
yeah, so
okay.
he's in Batman Forever, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, Batman and Robin, and Batman v Superman.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, when she's looking away there, that's actually her trying to look away.
Yeah. And also, Heath Ledger put on the makeup himself every day.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
if you look later in when he's been interrogated, his hands have got makeup on them. So
Yes.
on his makeup every day, no one would help him.
And it's very interesting. I'd love to. I don't know if it'll ever be released. I think because of Heath Ledger's family or something. But there must be so much footage
Hmm.
of him just like B-roll of him just behind the scenes. Because you see photos of like there's that infamous photo of
Possibly,
him
yeah.
in his dressing gown with a crew member, and he's just like pulling a funny face and stuff. And he's in the Joker makeup, and by all accounts, he was just the
Hmm.
nicest guy ever.
Oh yeah, definite. And yeah, he said this was his favorite role,
Mm.
and take it was only 28. It was just taken from us far too soon.
Yeah, and I think people often blow the whole Joker thing out of proportion for him and the effect it had on his life, because
Yeah.
for years my understanding of it was that he went mad because of the Joker role, and he became
Mm.
so kind of wrapped up in it that it killed him. But that's not the case at all. That's just
Nah,
entirely
that ain't the
no,
case.
yeah. But you read so many news reports, and it's like, oh, he locked himself in his room for 30 days, and he went mad, and that caused him to take a drug overdose and stuff, it's not the case at all. Like, the two are unrelated. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, there's so
I mean, he
much
did.
that's blown out of
I mean, to
proportion.
prepare for the role, he did lock himself in a hotel room and
Yeah,
just wrote down his thoughts in a diary, didn't
he
he?
did. Yeah. But by all accounts, that had no effect on his mental health or anything. That was all. He wasn't. He didn't go mad. But like the
Yeah,
stories
and at least
say.
he didn't. At least he didn't send anal beads
Oh
and dead
God.
rats to his cast members.
Yeah, or a used condom to
The
Margot
jo-
Robbie.
Oh, I mean, I could imagine Caesar Romero's Joker doing that, but not the Joker that you're trying to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I can remember on his trailers when they did Joker, they said, "Meet Arthur Fleck. He doesn't write damaged on his forehead. He just damages his forehead." And it's a clip of him hitting the glass of the phone
Yeah.
booth.
Oh God.
I mean, I'd love for if the Batman ever gets a sequel, I'd love for Joaquin Phoenix to show up and face Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah, I mean the thing about that is though is like, would I don't know, would that work? Because Joker is like such a is barely a film about
Yeah.
it. The only relation it has to like comic books is the name Thomas Wayne, I guess.
Yeah, and also Bruce
And
Wayne
Bruce
and
Wayne,
things
yeah.
like
It
that.
doesn't really. It's so kind of disconnected from everything, and it just plays as a drama, I guess. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when I first watched Joker when they were implying that oh, Arthur Fleck is Thomas Wayne's son. I thought, are they seriously copying Spectre by
Yeah.
having the main hero and the main villain be brothers? But yeah, they make it clear that it's pretty much in Arthur's head, so it's not real.
Yeah, I never. Yeah, Joker's a film I never know what I think about.
Yeah, I don't think it's the masterpiece that some people claim it to be, but yeah, if people think it's a masterpiece, good on them.
Yeah,
It's just I do like it. It's just not yeah, it's
yeah.
just
I,
not a masterpiece for
I
me.
know what you mean. It's one of those things I enjoy watching it a lot, and it really does grip me
Mhm.
when I'm watching it. But at the same time, uh, it's riddled with flaws, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, and to be honest, I found the 80s setting. I mean, for me at least, it just felt a bit pointless.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
because I don't know if they were trying to reference comics like Dark Knight Returns and was the Killing Joke written in the 80s?
Yes, it was 88, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously when comic books were taking a more darker tone again, so maybe they were trying to reference that or films like Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy, but
mm.
yeah, just found it a bit pointless.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, the first time I watched Joker in the cinema, the film stopped about 15 minutes in
Oh,
because they had started the showing 20 minutes too early. So for
oh,
the first 15, 20 minutes of film, I was with my girlfriend at the time, and me and her were just going, "Why is everyone coming in like late?" Like it was ridiculous. So we had whole groups of people coming in late, and then they stopped the film, and the guy came out and went, "Oh yeah, we've started a bit too early, so we're just gonna rewind it back, and we're gonna play it on on the time we said." So it was a very weird experience because we just yeah.
I do like this. What would someone do in the real world if they did expose Batman's identity?
Mm,
Well, they'd probably shut up about it because if you're right, Batman will beat you to a
yeah,
pulp, but if you're wrong, Bruce Wayne will probably take you down and make sure you never work again and ruin your life.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love the way Morgan Freeman plays this. He's just like, okay, I'm listening. Now let me tell you. And of course, I think the only person in the comics, at least, to figure out Batman's identity is it Hugo Strange?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like that in the Arkham games, the animated
Mm.
series. I mean, it's funny. He made his first live action debut in Gotham.
He did,
Yeah, it
yeah.
amazes me that he's not been given his own film yet. Because BD Wong was really good as Hugo Strange.
He was, yeah, yeah. He really was. It was a great portrayal.
The exterior shots of Gotham that we see here were they shot in Chicago?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
I think that Gotham in this universe is based on Chicago quite heavily.
Ah, okay.
Mm. But it's a lot less exaggerated than Batman Begins was already. Like it's a lot more like a city, like a real life city, rather than what Batman Begins was.
Yeah, Batman Begins focused mainly on the slums,
It
didn't it?
did, yeah.
And this definitely has a bigger scale. I mean,
Mm.
that's what I like about the three films. The scale just goes up and up.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
Batman Begins, it's relegated to like Arkham Asylum and a small island, Claw Island.
yes,
And this feels like a battle on the
it
streets,
really
whereas
does.
Dark
Yeah.
Knight Rises feels like basically all out war.
Mm.
Definitely at the end where all the police are charging at Bane's cronies. It's the only time in the film. It is pretty much a blink and you'll miss it moment, but it's the only time in the film that you see the Joker without his makeup on.
Yeah, yeah, and it kind of confirms to you that those scars aren't makeup either; they are real.
They're real. I do question when they arrest him later in the film. Why don't they wipe off the makeup? Because it's
Yeah.
technically a disguise. It's like arresting a bank robber who's wearing a balaclava and interviewing him with it still on.
I guess it.
Like you'd probably take it off.
I guess it was kind of. I guess it would take a while. I don't know. Take too long
Yeah.
maybe because they just kind of want to get him into the interview. But yeah.
We ran out of makeup wipes.
I mean, because when I did it, it took ages to get it all off. I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget David Desmolchin's in this. There's a. There's the guy.
Is he?
He's the guy who he's a bit insane. The schizophrenic guy.
Oh, the one who Harvey Dent intimidates.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Yeah. Because he's what's his face in Ant-Man, isn't he?
Oh, is he one of Scott Lang's
He's one of
friends?
he's the Russian guy, yeah.
Doesn't he make that Titanic joke like, "Nah, ship killed old lady"? No, wait, ship saved old lady. It did no good for Leo.
Yeah, that's it. And he's making a return to DC in the upcoming The Suicide Squad, so
Ah, yeah. So's yeah, that does look good because
I'm looking forward to
like
it.
it does look like it's doing its own thing and not just. I just hope they don't do a double track and say, "Shit, copy Guardians of the Galaxy, go go go."
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
Yeah,
First,
that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first film pretty much. The first trailers for that looked pretty good. With the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer, I was just like, "Yeah, this looks insane." But then it just felt like, "Oh, just copy Guardians of the Galaxy because
Yeah.
we can't do dark stuff."
Well, exactly. The first one was trying to copy Guardians of the Galaxy, and now they've actually got the guy who directed Guardians of the Galaxy to do the sequel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it, and I like that as bad as the first one is, they're not forgetting it entirely. Like they're bringing back Rick Flag and everything, and Amanda Waller is still in it. So yeah.
Have they brought back Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn?
Yes.
Or is she not in it at all?
No, she is in it. Yeah, she is in it.
Alright, that's
I'm
good.
looking forward to seeing what James Gunn does with her. I don't know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it looks really good.
Mhm.
Because I watched the first one again recently, and it's
I have not watched it since I have not watched it since it came out in cinemas, and I don't really plan to ever watch it again.
It's worse than I
unless,
remember.
Unless your followers and subscribers beg that we do
God,
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, maybe one day, who knows? I mean, the only version I've ever watched of it is the extended cut, funnily enough, but it's not that much different. It's only about 10 minutes longer. It's not much different at all.
Oh, well, is it? Well, isn't it true that David Ayer shot footage that was X-rated material?
Well, this is the next thing, isn't it? There's now hashtag release the Ayer cut is the thing that everyone wants. So.
They want people to release that.
That's apparently David Ayer's supporting the movement, and that seems to be the next movement from the people who got the Snyder cut.
Yeah, didn't he say fuck Marvel?
He did, yeah, he did. I mean, to be fair to David Ayer, he has said hold off on the release the Ayer cut movement until the second one's come out, because he was like, he wants James Gunn to have his film and not to be overshadowed and everything. So that's fair enough on him. He's like, yeah, let James have his film, and then maybe we'll see what happens after. But
I mean, all I remember about the first Suicide Squad is Mom says I can't be with you because you kill people.
Yeah.
This film won a fucking Oscar.
Meet Slipknot, the man who can climb anything.
Bang.
This is.
I just remember I Hate Everything's review of that. The man who can climb anything. Bang, bang, bang.
This is Katana. I would advise not getting killed by her. Her sword traps the souls of its victims.
Honestly, it is the first Suicide Squad. It's a textbook on how not to do. What do you call them? A team-up film?
Yeah.
Because the Avengers, it was introducing each of the heroes in their own respective films, then bringing them together. And with Guardians of the Galaxy, all the characters were centered around the plot, and that's how they came together. So, yeah, they didn't have three characters in a room sit down and introduce them, and then start the film. Just like, whose idea was that?
Yeah, exactly. And at a point, it's just like, well, it falls into that trap that so many like villain films fall into, when it's like, well, to make a palatable film for a general audience, they have to be good at the end, right? Because you know, Suicide Squad, it ends with Harley Quinn going, "You mess with my friends," and it's like, well, I thought this whole thing, the whole marketing was based around bad guys. And like, there's so many lines of dialogue in that film. It's like, we're bad guys, is what we do, and like, it's just
and they have that sentimental bullshit where isn't like 2/3 of the film they puss out, sit in a bar, like, you're criminals.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's just.
It'd be like in A Clockwork Orange if Alex and his droogs, while they were out committing a crime, I don't know, after they attack the writer and his wife, they just think, I feel really sad, my brothers. Let's go have a drink and talk about how sad we are.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's the thing, because they don't want to risk anything for a general audience, so they have to make them redeemable.
Yeah.
Because they don't want characters that you don't like, and it's just like, well, what? A lot of things fall into that trap, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I think
there was a line I liked earlier. I was just gonna say, there's a line I like earlier where, Harvey says to Rachel, "Is there any way you can go that's safe?" And she says, "Bruce Wayne," and like, he doesn't. I think they kind of make it a hint that Harvey really doesn't like Bruce Wayne. They thinks he's a bit of a fuckwit.
Yes, yeah. There's definitely a sort of. I always kind of viewed it as. They hate each other, but there's also a mutual respect.
Oh yeah, because.
Yeah.
Because for Bruce, Harvey's the thing that would give him a normal life, because Harvey put all those criminals on the street, back in prison, and he did it all without a mask. But also, and it's interesting how Batman and Harvey, they didn't seem to work together because, Harvey says, okay, take the Batman into custody. I'm the Batman. And yeah, if you look, Bruce Wayne is about to step forward.
He is, yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting, like, dynamic, I think. And in that scene as well, there's a line directly lifted from Batman the 60 series. And it's when he says the night is darkest just before the dawn. That is a quote.
Wait, that's from the 60s?
Yep, Batman says that in an yeah, Batman actually says that in an episode. He goes, "The night is darkest just before the dawn, Robin."
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Yeah, and a similar thing, that the Joker's mask that he wears at the start in the bank robbery is the same mask that he wears in an episode of the 60 series.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I know is there an episode in the 60s series where the Penguin tries to run for mayor?
Yes, there is, and there's a point where he meets a baby. He meets a mother with his baby, and he goes, kochi, and the baby bites his nose. The joke of that scene is the baby starts biting his nose, which is obviously then in Batman Returns, he bites someone's nose off.
And the great thing here is that, yeah, I'd argue that Harvey just didn't really think this plan through, of pretending to be Batman, but he put his faith in the police and Batman to obviously lure the Joker out and take him in, which does succeed, but then when he puts his faith in them again, when he and Rachel are captured, it literally blows up in his face.
Yes, it does, yeah.
Which is what turns him into a criminal. And I think before the film came out, people were theorising what is Two-Face going to look like as well, because Aaron Eckhart even said, I've seen quite a few people make up their own art, and all I can say is they're thinking small. Chris is thinking big.
Yeah.
So maybe they expected him just to have a few scars on his face, but nope, they go the whole route and have half of his face literally burnt off.
Yeah, and it's quite and I think the CGI still holds up, I think.
It does, yeah. I still can't believe it's CGI. I still think it's a practical effect.
Yeah, well, I think it's only really on the eye that you can tell, because obviously his whole eye is like exposed, which I'm always like, how does he keep that? How does he keep his eye wet? Because you leave your eyes open for too long, that's going to start hurting. So I wonder how.
Yeah, I know. And there's that scene where he takes a shot of whiskey. I'm like, oh, that stings so badly. Yeah. But I think that's kind of the point. Like, he doesn't care. I do love Alfred wearing that apron. It's so domestic. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was the whole truck convoy chase bit coming up. It's one of the IMAX cameras that they had hired out. The truck smashed into it completely, and it broke, and it cost the production so much money because it was at the time one of the very few IMAX cameras in the world. So, yeah.
Plus, he doesn't. Yeah, as he says, he's not relying on chance here. He's relying on good faith, and then obviously Two-Face's entire MO is that he relies on chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is one of the best superhero action scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It might be up there with the train scene from Spider-Man 2.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and there's very little music, isn't there? Which I think is what makes it so gripping.
Yeah, you've mostly got most of the music's here with the strings, the Hans Zimmer, like.
Mm-hmm. Also, whenever I was playing GTA 5, and I steal a car, I'd always say what the Joker says. Excuse me, I want to drive. Plus, a lot of these cars you see here, they're miniatures, aren't they? They're pretty much remote control cars.
Essentially, yeah.
But it looks so flawless. Oh god, I love this. I love this cop in the passenger seat. I didn't sign up for this. You're a police officer. What did you expect?
Exactly.
I love that. Slaughter is the best medicine.
That's a very comic booky Joker thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, he'd definitely do that. Funny how he doesn't aim for the tyres. Do that and they're pretty much
they're screwed up. Yeah, they're just sitting ducks at that point.
You should have gone for the tyres. Of course, this is the quote-unquote death of the beloved Tumblr.
Yeah, it is, and it's
To be honest, I always preferred the Bat Pod because I just think it looks cooler because the way his cape flows just looks so awesome, and it makes for a great poster.
It really is cool, yeah. And again, that was one of the posters for this, wasn't it? It was the Bat Pod, and I think in America, like the Blu-ray release of it had a lenticular thing where it's like it was the Joker, and then if you turned it, it was the Bat Pod. So.
I think for the third film with Heath Ledger's death, was there any talk of recasting the Joker, or was that never on the table?
Again, it's one of those things that I think was there's a lot of false rumours about it. I don't think it was ever on the table, but
yeah, because well, I know for the third film, Warner Brothers wanted the Riddler and have Leonardo DiCaprio play him, which I definitely think would have been cool, but he's too similar a villain to the Joker a little bit.
Yeah.
They're both a mental and psychological obstacle for Batman to overcome, which is why I think it's better that for the third film they go for a physical threat.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree with that, and yeah.
Now that they're about to flip over the truck, is it true someone died doing that?
Yeah, it's one of the crew members or stuntmen died because it's one of the dedications in the end credits along with Heath Ledger.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I think his name's Convoy something.
Convoy something, yeah.
Yeah, that's such a shame.
Well, that's it, because there's another thing as well. It's like there's so many times I heard the story of the reason the Joker disappears from the film was the end because he died before they could shoot that scene, and he died before all this stuff, and it's like I believe he completed all of the scenes he was meant to to shoot. He was in the
Yeah.
he was in the middle of shooting another film at the time, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He definitely completed everything.
Yeah, there's no bones about that. I think they were in the editing process when he passed away, right?
Yeah, and I think I do remember reading that Christopher Nolan considered using some deleted scenes from this film to give him sort of a cameo in the third film, but he decided not to bother. I love that gag there, the kids pretending to play with guns and they think they've caused an explosion.
Well, see, that's what I mean. This film isn't humorless.
Yeah, because the main humour comes from the Joker, because his quips are pretty funny, but in a dark, twisted way, like when he's about to take off Batman's mask, gets a gun to his head and just says, "Can you please just give me a minute?"
Yes, exactly, yeah. And the thing is, I think this film, unfortunately, as we said last time, that studios learned all the wrong lessons from it, and films and blockbusters began to get so humorless. And this film isn't humorless. It's realistic, but it's not humorless at all. There's humor in it, and it never feels edgy. Whereas so many films that tried to be like this just had no charm to them at all. And and this is the thing about this film, right? If it was any other film, I'd probably hate it. Because it its legacy is so annoying, like because how the bad lessons that were learned from it, and all that. But it's such an incredible film that it doesn't matter, That's the thing. It would be a problem if it wasn't an absolutely incredible film.
I mean, do you blame Coca-Cola for eventually giving birth to Diet Coke?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. It's one of those things that it's like, I can overlook it. If it was any other film, I would be a lot less forgiving. But it's so damn good, and it's just it's a classic case, isn't it, of Hollywood just learning all the wrong lessons. It's happened. It happens with so many things. When I look at Marvel, when the MCU was. MCU kicked off and every studio tried to do a cinematic universe.
Now, for ages, I thought when one of the thugs tries to touch his mask, I actually thought it was the Joker zapping him, basically saying, "Get off, he's mine." But it's probably Batman's own feature, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a self-defense thing, I guess. It's like
yeah, I suppose it makes sense because if he is knocked out, he's pretty much exposed. Yeah. Someone could take off his mask.
Yeah, God help him if he's got an itchy chin, though. You have to be really careful there, having a scratch of his chin. Is it's just yeah. Reminds me of is it the Ambassadors of Death when he turns on the anti-theft device? I think it's Ambassadors of Death.
Yeah, that's it.
Anti-theft device.
Oh, could you help me? My car is broken. Just help me push it off the road. Thank you. Now the stare that he's got there, it's pretty much the Alex stare from A Clockwork Orange.
It's an iconic image. And it
actually, yeah, just going back to the whole why don't they wipe off the makeup? Yeah, they do say there no name, no alias, no DNA matches, clothing, etc. So maybe they thought there's no point wiping off the makeup.
Yes, it probably wouldn't have made much of a difference.
Yeah, this This was improvised by Heath Ledger, wasn't it? The clapping.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Perfect. It's interesting how his wife is called Barbara, when in the comics that's the name of his
Mother
daughter who
Gordon,
becomes
yeah,
Batgirl. Yeah. Do you think Robin could have worked in this universe?
I don't think so. Really, I don't think it would have fit.
Yeah. Honestly, given how Gotham pretty much gave an origin story to every Batman character, I'm surprised the Graysons weren't mentioned. You didn't have Dick Grayson show up as a 5-year-old, go, hello.
Yeah. I find the image of like his face just in the darkness is so creepy.
It is, yeah.
The cover art for the 4K release of this is just, it's entirely black, and then just in the middle you've got like the Joker's face shrouded in shadow. It's really quite disturbing.
Yeah, honestly, I'd love to see Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy recreate this scene, the interrogation scene.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
And what's great about this scene is that Batman pretty much tries everything he knows against the Joker, because he doesn't even know. We're like, what, an hour and a half into the film, and he doesn't know what to make of the Joker, so he tries using everything. Brute force, talking to him like, how the police talk to criminals and things like that. But the Joker's not fooled, because he says, don't talk like one of them, you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just like me. You're a freak. Reminds me of good cop, bad cop routine. Reminds me of The Simpsons. Spill it, Lisa! Where's your brother? You better answer him, Lisa. He's a bad man. What are you laughing at? You and Willie got mixed up an hour ago. You started off as the bad cop, now you're the good one. And also, what he says here pretty much foreshadows the third film, because he says, when the chips are down, the civilized people, even they'll eat each other.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at the Bane's Blackgate speech and freeing all those prisoners, it's not just criminals that do things. You see the average citizen join in as well, because you can even see, like, a bellhop throwing out a hotel guest.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's pretty much saying what the Green Goblin says to Spider-Man. In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they'll hate you. Why bother?
There are 8 million people in this city, and the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail, fall, die trying.
Was Willem Dafoe considered for the Joker in Batman 89? Because he could have been a really good Joker.
I hope so. I mean, he would have been great.
Yeah.
I mean, you see fan art of him as a Joker, and it just looks fantastic. If you go through this frame by frame, you can actually see a crew member in the reflection of the glass. which
-1 out of 10.
yeah, exactly.
Objectively bad.
This scene in particular is one of those things, those scenes that are just like, when people say what is incredible acting, is this scene is often pointed to.
Yeah, because he actually punched him here, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. And I mean, this is just like, it's some of the best acting I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. And again, like Spider-Man, Batman has to choose the love interest or someone else.
Yeah, exactly. You never know when some lunatic comes along with a sadistic choice.
Heck, Batman Forever kind of started it as well, because you've got choice between Robin and Chase Meridian.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I love here is that Harvey has complete faith in that they're going to save Rachel and he'll get out of it his own way, but it doesn't happen. It completely shatters his faith. So
yeah,
it's not just the scars that kill him.
This whole scene, it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, I'm always on the edge of my seat. It's so well that, like, the music, it's just continuously building up. You know something's going to happen, but it's literally a race against time.
And if you, when he holds this cop hostage, when he says, "I just want my phone call," if you look closely, he's actually holding a shard of glass.
Yes, yeah.
So that was kind of Batman's fault there. I love this guy. You see, my insides had light up like Christmas.
Like Christmas.
And of course, what Harvey doesn't know is that Batman fully intended to go for Rachel. It's just the Joker completely screwed him over.
Yes, yeah,
and lied to him.
Actually, I didn't know this. I just read on here that this film was added to the Library of Congress's National Film Registry last year.
Great,
as
brilliant.
Culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, which is like, that's a real that's a real high bar.
Is it the same as the American Film Institute?
Yeah.
Or is that something different?
It's a similar thing, yeah. So like in the National Film Registry, you've got like things like 12 Angry Men and Star Wars and a Clockwork Orange, and these iconic, these iconic, E.T., I think Raiders of the Lost Ark's probably in there, Exorcist, like these iconic.
Yeah, because there's
changed cinema really.
They've got a list of 100 heroes and 100 villains, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they've got Batman as the 46th from 1989 greatest hero, and Joker as the 45th greatest villain.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, the Terminator is both on the heroes and the villains list.
Oh, well, yeah. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yep.
But that is a pretty big achievement for this to be in the film registry.
Definitely,
that's a real that's a real achievement.
I mean, wasn't there, I don't want to say controversy, but wasn't there kind of, people thought the Oscars were being far too snobbery by not putting this film as best, not having this film nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah, yes, because yeah, I mean, it was nominated for 8 awards, right? Or
Yeah, and won 2. One for Heath Ledger, and I think Best Sound Mixing
Best
or Editing,
sound
something like that.
yeah.
Surprisingly enough, The Dark Knight Rises didn't get any nominations at all, and I thought, at least for cinematography, visual
that should
effects,
have got
again, film editing as well, it should have at least
for
got
sure.
nominated in that regard. Yeah. Because, well, here's a fun fact. This is the first Batman film since Batman '89 not to be nominated for a Razzie Award.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, what was Batman Begins nominated for?
Katie Holmes got was nominated for Worst Supporting Actress,
okay.
which that's a bit unfair.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't take them that seriously.
No,
They're just a
they
joke.
Right, Joe.
I don't like making fun of it because it's so harsh.
Oh, yeah. It is so good. It like that whole, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, and the fact that his poor face, just
That
feels so painful.
That whole scene is just one of my favourites ever. It's fantastic.
And I like how after he more or less mutilates Harvey Dent, even the mob are scared of him because Maroni pretty much gives him up and decides to bail.
Yeah.
Oh, that's iconic. Him riding the. Is he driving it?
I think he's in the back, isn't he? Is he driving it from the back?
Yeah, he's in the back, but
I don't know. Yeah.
That wouldn't be possible unless someone was in the front.
Unless you pulled the seat right down or something. Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah. It'd be a challenge, to say the least.
Yep. They recreate that shot of Batman standing over the debris that was recreated in the Lego Batman movie.
Lego Batman.
I've seen you go through. Yeah, it's a perfect love letter for Batman. I've seen you go through similar phases in 2016, 2012, 2008.
It recreates a shot from every film, doesn't it? The Lego Batman movie. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. But for Batman and Robin, they don't recreate it in Lego. They just show the bat nipples.
Yeah. I love that film. It's so good.
Mhm. Yeah, one criticism I have heard of this film is that Bruce doesn't seem to react much to Rachel's death because we're literally on to the next thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty much this. But I think the third film does make up for that because obviously they establish he stopped being Batman, but he didn't move on.
Yes.
He never tried to find someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's the fact that because he sort of has no, like you say, there's no time to react to it really, to properly emotionally digest it, and it doesn't feel unnatural, which is pretty incredible because that type of thing could feel quite unnatural for a film to do, but it just feels completely like in tune with what the film's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, that line there, we burn the forest down, obviously it references Batman, Alfred's earlier anecdote by saying some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
So that line pretty much says we broke our own rules, and Batman does technically break his own rules later in the film when he hacks into everyone's phone. Is that it?
Yes.
Phone
Yeah.
signals, just so he can find the Joker, which ironically makes him more of a criminal than the Joker.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, the sentence would be
According to Legal Eagle.
Yeah.
That inaudible scream is great. I love how we don't hear
great,
it.
Yeah. No, I always forget that that's Anthony Michael Hall as Mike Engel.
What else has he been
Former
in?
child star of The Breakfast Club and Weird Science. Big collaborator with John Hughes in the 80s. He hasn't aged the best, I'll say that much. He doesn't. He looks completely different now to what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He's yeah.
Now, I can't take this scene seriously thanks to The Unusual Suspect when he made that Never Gonna Give You Up video. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to... Yeah. And I like how they don't start referring him to Two-Face as now on, they still call him Harvey.
Yeah.
Robot Chicken did such a perfect sketch on Two-Face. He gets scarred again, and Batman says, "I'm sorry, Harvey." And he says, "Call me by my real name, Free-Face. I have 3 straws here, Batman. 1, you live. 2, you die. 3, we drink hot chocolate together." Yeah, then he burns himself, I think, on hot chocolate and calls himself Four-Face.
Well, interesting. That's what the 60s series was going to do. Two-Face, I think, but they thought it would be too horrific for the audience.
Too horrific for younger
so
viewers.
They created False-Face.
I think he was going to be. Yeah, I think he was going to be a TV reporter who had a TV blown up in his face, and that's how he got scarred. And I think they were going to get Clint Eastwood to play him.
Yeah, well, interesting, when they did the animated film Batman vs. Two-Face, they got William Shatner to do Two-Face.
Oh, right,
which probably
okay.
would have, that would have been a pretty appropriate choice, right? Because William Shatner, 60s TV star.
Was that Adam West's last film role?
It was, yeah. And
I'm glad he got to play Batman again for the final time.
I imagine they'd still be doing those films now if he was still with us. Because they did 2 of them, and I think I read somewhere that there were plans for a 3rd one.
I mean, I'd have loved to have met him, but just so I could recreate that scene from The Simpsons. Adam West, hey kids, Batman. That's not the real Batman. Of course I'm Batman. See, here's a picture of me with Robin.
Who's Robin?
Oh, I guess you're only familiar with the new Batman movies. I didn't need molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West. I mean, no offense, but on that show you kind of look like you had a beer belly. Yeah, I really need to check out the 60s TV show because I've only seen the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, the Blu-ray set, it's like £45, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't want to put that on the cash yet.
It is for sure. Like the Blu-rays are for sure worth it because the restoration is pretty incredible. Like it looks so good. And the problem with the series is you can't binge watch it because I find when I binge watch it, I get really tired of it within a couple of episodes. You need to watch it in chunks, I think, because sometimes I guess it's like I heard Geekvolution once say if the Dark Knight is like a really big, like, juicy steak, then the Batman 60 series is a really sweet, sugary, tasty donut. And it's like anything, if you eat too many of the donuts, you're gonna be sick.
You get sick.
Yeah.
And again, the Joker's plans has changed. He doesn't want Batman to give himself up. He just wants to have fun, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The Lamborghini.
Yeah, if this was
The Lamborghini.
yeah, if this was the plot, honestly, the whole Joker threatens to blow up a hospital or a landmark. It does pretty much feel like an episode of the animated series.
Yeah. Yeah. He's even dressing up.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing as well. It's so fascinating to one statement from the Joker, and everyone
Yeah, and they all.
everyone turns against each other.
Mhm. Yeah, and if this was the animated series Batman, I think Alfred's role would have been either Robin or maybe Batgirl.
Yeah.
I know some have argued that why doesn't Dent recognise the Joker until he takes off the face mask? I'm like, well, he's only got one eye that's working, and he's what, half awake.
True.
So yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how to pour salt in the wound even more. He briefly forgets Rachel's name just to piss him off even further. Also, a line coming up here became a meme. So what do you plan to do after university? Do I really look like a guy with a plan? Yeah, and I love the line of, I'm like a dog chasing cars. I don't know what to do with one if I caught it. So, yeah, what does he do if he does rule a city without chaos? What would he do?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's like asking, because I was listening to the Big Finish audio Jubilee recently, and they bring up a really good point. What the Doctor asks a Dalek, what do you do when you are the dominant life form in the universe? Do you just kill all the other Daleks until there's one left?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a fascinating, because you wonder what's the next step and what would have happened. You know, if we had seen more films with Ledger.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen because I think the third film would have been about his trial, which I'm sure they would have made interesting, but and also Two-Face would have tried to take over the city, which I definitely would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, it would have been cool. Even dressed as a nurse, he's still intimidating.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, any other actor, and it could have looked really, really silly. But yeah, I forget he's still dressed as a nurse at this point.
Yeah. And it's a very hard tightrope to walk because when you do things like that, look at Jared Leto. You can't just do the. You can't just.
Yeah.
It's so easy to become comical by I guess by imitating this by doing the creepy voice and all like because it's not creepy. It's you have to. It's a specific thing you have to nail, and it's really like.
Because I'd argue Cameron Monaghan, I think you call it.
Yeah.
I'd argue for Jerome in Gotham. He does copy this voice, but he still manages to make the role his own because he's really intimidating.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it's scarier a bit for Jerome because he's only 18, I think.
Yeah, he's really young. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the funny thing is, in Gotham, I think the showrunners even confirmed that Jeremiah, his twin brother, they even confirmed he's not the Joker as well.
Yeah, they did. Well, to be fair, they were confirming that a lot because they had to be really careful because WB weren't allowing them to use the Joker officially.
Yeah, was it due to a copyright reason?
Copyright thing, yeah, which is seems mental to me.
I mean, is it a bit like because like one of the final images of Gotham season 5 is Batman in the costume on a rooftop looking over the city. So are they allowed to use the imagery, just not the name? Is it a bit like the Daleks and Terry Nation?
It's something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Something weird like that.
Yeah, because it's so weird. In the final episode of Gotham, I think Jim Gordon says, You don't want to do this, Jeremiah. And he says, Jeremiah? Jeremiah is dead, my friend. You could call me John or Joseph. Or how about Joe? And then I think Batman comes in and stops him.
Yeah. Now that was improvised,
yeah,
because
Jerome was... it was, the whole...
the explosive wouldn't go off, wouldn't it? It went off a bit late, so...
Yeah, he improvised. Yeah. That's really good. Because Jerome, he's in Gotham. He's pretty much the Joker's personality, but without the makeup or the clothing. Whereas Jeremiah's kind of the opposite.
Essentially, yeah.
He's not as loud as Jerome. He's very quiet and soft-spoken, which does make him a bit more scarier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say this about Gotham, it's the closest we get to all those villains being in the same room and teaming up together.
Yeah, because wasn't one of the seasons called Rise of the Villains or something?
Yeah, I think that's season 2, part 1, something like that. But it's really season 4, part 2, where all the villains team up, because you've got the Joker, Mr. Freeze, Scarecrow, Mad Hatter... Firefly, Scarecrow, and it's pretty awesome. And Lego Batman does make me laugh when the Joker, it opens with one of the Joker's schemes. I think the pilot's just like, Batman will stop you? No, he won't. Well, what about that plan with the 2 ferries? Oh, this isn't even on there. What about the one with the festival? sting like
Oh,
hell.
you can see it kind of dripping down as well, like in the gaps in his face.
Yeah, but he really doesn't care at this point. It wouldn't surprise me if the Arkham games took influence of this when you switch on.
Oh yeah,
what's
detective
it called?
mode.
Detective mode. That's it.
Yeah.
Detective mode.
That's true because Arkham Asylum was a year after this, wasn't it? It was 2009. So.
I mean, I'd love Rockstar. Are they called Rockstar? Rocksteady?
Rocksteady are the Batman guys, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love them to do Superman.
It would be cool. It would be. I know that they're doing the Suicide Squad game. It's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League next, and yeah, which is I'm interested to see what they do next because a Superman game would be very, very nice, but yeah.
Isn't there in DC? Isn't there an Injustice League?
There's I don't know if they're called there's the Legion of Doom. Which
Right,
is like the
okay.
evil Justice League, but
Yeah, because doesn't the Whedon cut of Justice League have that post-credit scene where Lex Luthor says, "Why don't we have a league of our own?"
Yes, that's the Whedon cut, yeah. And the Snyder cut is different because it's them setting up for the Batflick solo film that never happened. So instead of them talking about the Legion of Doom, they're talking about hiring some assassins to go after Batman.
Yeah, well, in Gotham, when the villains team up, they call it the Legion of Horribles.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a term from the comics or something they made up for the TV series.
Now, that's another blink and you'll miss it detail. You can see as the camera pans over, the guy gets taken out.
If you look in the mirror, you can see Two-Face actually open the door and get in the car.
Yes, you can, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a cool Easter egg if Maroni's driver was a Chinese gang boy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like Chang Li from the TV movie.
Yes, yeah.
Why have you stopped? The road's blocked. This is an ambulance!
It was Ramirez.
It's amazing how Eric Roberts went from this to The Human Centipede 3.
Oh, that man is mental. He is. He's just so bizarre. He's in so many music videos as well. He just pops up in so many music videos randomly. The guy Is the guy who throws away the detonator? Is he in something else? I'm sure I've seen him. I'm sure he's an actual. He's an actor. He's not just a rando.
What else have you seen?
I'm gonna have a look now.
Mhm.
I might be imagining it, but I'm sure I've seen him in something.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that random prisoner who just says something along the lines of "You want to do it, but you don't know how to take a life."
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And I love how he throws it out the window because you expect him to be the one to do it because he's saying, "I've taken lives before, so I'll do it," but he doesn't want anyone to stoop to his level.
Yes, yeah. Oh, so the guy. Oh, he passed away a few months ago. Quite recently.
Oh no, that's
he
a
had
shame.
COVID. He's in Zootopia.
Cool.
He's out. Speaking of the Human Centipede, he's in the Human Centipede 3. So that's 2 Human Centipede cast members in this. He's in Austin Powers. The Fifth Element.
Nice.
Yeah, he's in a few things.
Well, funnily enough, Human Centipede 2 is set in the UK.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, because the ironic thing is the first film was banned in the UK, so they thought they were being clever and meta by setting the second film in the UK.
Bloody hell. Oh, those films.
Yeah, even though... Right, the main character is a mentally retarded security guard who's obsessed with the first film, and he works in basically a park, in a multi-story car park, and he carries a gun. Like, you are aware gun laws are really strict in the UK. Not even the police carry them.
Christ. Trying to be meta.
In fact, the full film is on YouTube.
I mean, I've just read now that apparently you can buy a compilation film where all of the Human Centipede films are edited into one long film.
Yeah, because that's how it works. Like, the ending directly leads into the second film, and because the first film ends, and the second film will start with the main character watching the ending of the first film on a TV screen. It's just, I just love how, it's in the real world now, but it's even more unrealistic.
Punching a woman in the face, that's family friendly.
Yeah, how many people does he kill? Because they later say it's 5, so he killed Wirtz, he killed Maroney and his driver, that's 3.
Yeah.
So who are the other 2?
Yeah, he goes... That's never quite lined up. Unless we didn't... Off screen, I guess?
Yeah, he could have killed the bartender who was with Wirtz, maybe? That's 4. But Gordon even says 2 of them cops, so...
Yeah, so...
Who are they?
Oh god, I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, and Batman predicts the Joker here, saying it's not that simple, and he unmasks someone and it's the hostage.
Yeah, it's a bait and switch, isn't it? Yeah, it's there they are.
Mm-hmm.
I always think this looks like a video game, like an
It
introduction
does,
to a video
yeah.
game, especially when it pans round to the Joker, because it looks like here's the
Yeah.
boss.
The Joker is 2 floors above you. Press X to take down the clown over the hostages. Use a batarang and freeze blasts to stop them.
And of course, this whole, it's even more cementing the public distrust in Batman after this point, right?
It is, yeah, because he takes down an entire SWAT team. Literally no time to explain, though. You are 1 floor away from the Joker, but first take down the SWAT team.
Especially with Fox's narration as well.
Yep.
Well, because that's the thing, we spoke about it last time, there was going to be a movie tie-in to this, but it got cancelled halfway through its development, and there's...
Yeah, going back to movie video game tie-ins, the Harry Potter games, the Harry Potter films all had games tied into them. From what I heard, the first 3 were good, with like 2 and 3 being the best, because basically it was a free roam game. You could do whatever you wanted as well as the missions. Yeah. But then I think Goblet of Fire got rid of the whole free roam thing. But I have played Half-Blood Prince on the Nintendo Wii, and I have played Order of the Phoenix on PSP. They were alright.
Yeah, the only ones I haven't played are Philosopher's Stone and Order of the Phoenix.
Oh god, you played Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2?
I own Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2.
Oh,
they're not very good, but but I've got them.
I've seen the Unusual Suspects review of Part 2 and Angry Joe's review, just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's
like, is it true, like, the gameplay is, what, 2 hours? That is shorter than the film. How is that
you
possible?
You can probably stretch it out to 3 hours if you try and if you do it on the hardest difficulty, but why would you?
Oh, God.
Why would you? And it's one of those games that's like fun in short bursts, but it's just one of the, turning all the spells into guns is one of the weirdest things they've ever done.
Yeah, making it a first-person shooter was just so weird. Yeah, a wand is something you wave with style, not rapidly press the fire button.
Exactly. And I think the problem... The good thing about the game is you could play as other characters. You weren't just stuck playing as Harry. You had the option to play as like such a wide variety of characters. That was like the only good thing about it.
Yeah, Half-Blood Prince I did play on the Wii, and I don't think it was that bad, because I think it was cool to explore Hogwarts, make potions, which as a 12-year-old is cool to do.
Well, yeah, Half-Blood Prince brought back the free roam.
Do dueling lessons, Quidditch,
That was the Half-Blood Prince brought back the free roam, and it was all the better for it. Yeah,
it did,
2 and 3 are definitely the best. 4 is...
I played that on the Game Boy.
Oh, really?
How's that for old?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was to be honest, I couldn't get past the. I think it was the prefect's bathroom level.
Yeah,
Even though, yeah, that's like a 2-minute scene in the film where he puts the egg underwater.
Yeah, it's like a whole section in the game, right? Like I had the fourth one on DS as a kid, and I enjoyed it at the time. And then a few years ago, I got the fourth one on GameCube, and I started playing it, and it was just terrible. It's really bad, really, really bad.
Yep. So yeah, I'm glad movie and video game tie-ins have calmed down a bit.
Yeah. Because there is a roller coaster based on this film. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Oh, where's it at?
It was at Six Flags, I think. I don't know if it's still open. It was at the Six Flags amusement park in America, and it was called the Dark Knight Coaster, and it was like you were supposedly. I don't really know what the context was, but it had like Joker footage in it, and it was like the Joker was hijacking the roller coaster almost. And it was set in this universe, which is, I'm surprised that they made a roller coaster off of this universe, but yeah, it was.
Well,
yeah.
did you know at Fort Park there's a Saw roller coaster?
Oh, is there? Oh, bloody hell!
Yeah, probably the only horror movie to have a ride.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I mean, I've not been on it, but yeah.
Tell you what would be a good ride is Nightmare on Elm Street. That would make for a really cool ride with the dreams and everything. You could go really ambitious with that.
Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace. Glad to make your acquaintance. Here I am. Oh, no, stop. I left my gun on the seat.
Wait here, please.
It's such a shame we never hear his third Scars story.
No, yeah.
Did they distort his voice in post-production as well?
Who, Christian Bale?
Yeah, because at times it does sound like it's been altered.
Yeah, it sounded a bit electronic, yeah. I don't know, maybe. I don't know if that's just because he's lying down, though, and it's at an angle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because I know quite a few people did criticise the voice in this film. Some people said it ruined the film for them.
It doesn't... I can go maybe that far in the third one, but I think in this one it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind it in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is weird how it just escalated, though. Because the first one was so subtle and... Because I think this line doesn't come through at all. When he says you'll be in a padded cell forever, it sounds like he's saying you'll pee in a padded cell forever. You'll pee in a padded cell forever.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the honest trailer for Dark Knight Rises said, starring Batman and Bane, who you'll struggle to understand what they're saying. Oh god, it reminds me of that line in the 10th Planet where the Doctor says, "It's far from being all over." Someone said on a YouTube comment said, "What is the Doctor saying? Is he saying it's far from peeing all over?" I'm far from peeing all over.
It's quite cool, actually, the subtle way the camera just turns upside down.
It does,
Cool
yeah.
detail.
Also, here's proof why Heath Ledger is the best Joker. Jack Nicholson's Joker screamed whilst falling off a tall building. Heath Ledger's Joker laughed.
Yeah.
That's the last time
we see him. Yeah. What a legacy! What a legacy he left. Because I'd argue I think the three kind of iconic superhero films, and that word gets overused a lot, but I think the three ones that have been that have cemented themselves for decades, and maybe we'll see if like Endgame crosses this, but I think you've got Superman the movie, you've got Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, just for like the upside down kiss, like in public consciousness, and I think this. I think those are the three. Yeah. And this is just brilliant. This is so well performed.
Yeah, and when Harvey says, "Why was it me who lost everything?" and Batman says, "It wasn't." It's almost as if he just wants to take off his mask and just say, "I'm Bruce Wayne. I lost everything as well." Honestly, with the wife and kids, I'm surprised they never told anyone about Harvey
I'm
Dent.
shocked as well, yeah, because they never come up again, do they? And especially because the third one's set 8 years later, so is it 8 years, isn't it, or is it 6?
Yeah, it's 8 years.
So
those kids would be teenagers.
Yeah,
by
I
then.
would think that they'd be
I do wonder, even after Heath Ledger's death, they still could have used Two-Face for the third film, I think.
Yeah, I think they still could have done it. Yeah. But I think the reason why this is the strongest for me, and it's the strongest one that stands on its own, is because there's this wonderful tragedy of corruption and the escalation of corruption, and I find all that so fascinating, and that's why it's the strongest one for me. And I think it's all the better that it doesn't have kind of a... Because in many ways it does have a lead into the next one, but in many ways it doesn't, and I like that.
Yeah. I'll say this, if he's judging on all three of them, he really should have done himself last, because imagine if that landed bad side, it was like, oh, I've got to follow this now. Bang.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably my favourite bit of the score as well.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of that. He could have just. It would have been much better if he just. If we just saw a shot of him like that. Yeah, that grunt feels very ADR.
Yeah, you could have muted that grunt, to be honest. It would have been fine, but it's just a.
honestly feels a bit like if this was a George Lucas film, it feels like one of his special
Yeah.
editions. The Fall kills Harvey, but not Bruce. I know he's got armor on, but imagine hitting your head in that.
I guess it's the armor, because he still hurts himself. He's still limping.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the third film, we see the consequences of that.
Yeah.
But obviously, someone I guess his skull is weak anyway, right? Because of the burns.
Yeah. I know Kevin Conroy has dubbed over this ending. You can find it on YouTube, and yeah, he does it really well.
He does.
Just reminds me of that scene in The Simpsons where Martin dies at school, and Skinner's like, wheel him out quietly. It's best the children don't see him. Oh, just get it out of here. That's what it's like with Harvey's body.
I'm just 5 dead, 2 of them cops.
Yeah.
Who's the? Yeah.
Who are they? There's also, I mean, some have debated, can't they just blame it on the Joker?
I get. Well,
could you do that?
Maybe. I don't know. Also, something I noticed today, it's such a pointless fact, but each film is 12 minutes longer than the last. Yeah, exactly right.
Yep.
Batman Begins is 140 minutes, this is 152, and the third one is...
The last one is
164.
164.
Yeah,
Here's another pointless fact. Each title of the film in the trilogy gets longer with each film.
Yes, it
You've
does.
got 2 words, 3 words, then 4, which of course means nothing.
Yes. So just like the 5 dead, 2 of them cops thing, no one can figure out what the second cop is, but you've also got to factor in the bodyguard that he killed to get to the Maroni's bodyguard. So that's one. I don't know who the second cop will be.
Yeah, and he is limping a bit there, because by the next film they say he has no cartilage in his leg, something like that.
Yes, yeah, and he has to have that like magic knee brace.
And one thing I've noticed about each of these films is that they take ideas but not complete plots from a lot of Batman graphic novels without being direct adaptations. Like Batman Begins obviously takes inspiration from Year One. This is probably The Killing Joke, and Dark Knight Rises, obviously Dark Knight Returns, and No Man's Land.
Well, I mean, this one this is like The Killing Joke. The Long Halloween is a massive influence on this as well. This one takes inspiration from all sorts of places, but yeah.
Wow, what a film!
From start to finish, isn't it? And I really hate when people use that word nowadays, because they say it for everything. But this is truly iconic. This like, you know, how many times can you say a superhero film is considered one of the best of the decade and changed cinema?
Yeah, the trilogy is 15 years old now, so it's just great that people still look on it really fondly. It wasn't just a whole... it was hyped up for a while and then quickly forgotten about, but
yeah. And I mean, the fact, like I said earlier, Halloween costumes. Heath Ledger's Joker. You're always going to get Heath Ledger's Joker as a Halloween costume, and That's the thing. I think it's just it really is just fantastic that it has influenced so much. That there's so many films have taken influence from that. I mean, Skyfall is basically a loose remake of The Dark Knight, if you think about it.
It is, yeah.
You know, yeah. It's a shame that so many things imitated the dark and gritty tone of this, and not knowing what made it. Instead of like going for like a thoughtful tone, they just made it miserable and gloomy and not fun to watch. Whereas this is just riveting from start to finish, I think.
Yeah, and for 2.5 hours, that completely flew by.
It does,
yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, all the films they go over 2 hours, but yeah, you could easily watch them in one sitting and not be bored by it.
Yeah, the first two, I think the third one drags for me. Obviously, we'll get to that next time. For me, the third one stretches it out a bit, but obviously we'll go there next time. But I mean, yeah, even it's just this one especially I can just put on whenever. Out of the three, it's all, you know, it's easily the one I've watched the most, but.
Yeah, that's it. Conway, Whitcliffe, yeah.
Because I mean, like, it must have been hard for like the editors on this, right? Having to look at Heath Ledger's face every single day after he died, right?
Yeah, Christopher Nolan said it was hard during the editing process to look at him all the time, but yeah, he definitely deserved the how do you say it?
Posthumous win.
Yeah, posthumous Oscar win. Yeah, I think he was the second person to win an Oscar after his death.
Yeah, who was the first person?
An actor called, I think it was called Peter Finch for another film, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, if you play the Joker, you get an Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
Because Joaquin Phoenix recently won it for playing Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
I mean, Joaquin Phoenix's method acting for the Joker was really something else, because he said, the filmmaker said to him, okay, we want Arthur Fleck to look physically weak and physically skinny. They gave him, like, if you go on this diet, do this, do that, you can pretty much get down to pretty much skin and bones. He said, I don't do that. And all he did was, I think for a few weeks, eat nothing but an apple a day.
Yes, I read that, yeah.
And, yeah, it definitely shows. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they are. It's insane. I just read that this film was used by Barack Obama to help explain ISIS. Yeah, apparently there's one of his speeches where he's like, that ISIS is the Joker. If you look at the Joker in The Dark Knight, that's what ISIS is. How many comic book films can say that? That they've been used by the president to help explain the terrorism.
Well, he took his didn't he take his campaign to end the recession from Bob the Builder?
Yes, we can.
Can we fix it? Yes, we can. Yeah, honestly, this should have been this should have got a Best Picture and a Best Director nomination, in my opinion.
It does make you wonder if Heath Ledger was still alive by the time the Oscars rolled around. Would it have got more, or would it have got less, or kind of?
It's true. Yeah, I still think had he been alive, he would have still been nominated.
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
because it's definitely worthy.
Yeah.
Because it's at the time it was the first comic book film where someone won in an acting category, and obviously Joaquin Phoenix has become the second with Joker.
Yes. Yeah, it's just It's incredible, and it really, you can't really express how much this just completely altered the way people view like, because this might have been, this really was a turning point where people were like, you can actually use these films to say stuff about the society we live in.
Yeah, you can. Comic book films don't have to be complete garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because comic book films don't have to be like those early 2000 films that are trying to be edgy and dark but end up falling flat on their arse.
Exactly.
I mean, I'd say the most recent one that fell into that category was Venom.
Venom.
Yeah, because that's what it. Yeah, honestly, that film is so fascinating because I guarantee if it came out in like the early 2000s, it probably would have bombed really hard. But it made 800 million worldwide, and I'm kind of baffled because I thought, oh wow, okay, if people went to go see it, because I think it's the room of superhero movies.
It is hilarious.
It's so bad, batshit insane that you pretty much have to watch it.
It is hilarious. Like Patrick Willem's review of it on Letterboxd was kind of summed it up. He was like, the number 3 superhero film of 2003. And it was like, pretty accurate. But
so that is it for The Dark Knight, one of my favourite movie of all time. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around with us on this commentary. Next time we'll of course be finishing the trilogy with The Dark Knight Rises. So see you there next week. In the meantime, go subscribe to Isaac's channel, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.